And she says, oh, you public speak. What do you talk about? I said, I'm a substance abuse speaker. And she said, oh, that's interesting. And I tell her a little bit about my life story. And she says, don't you think that you're maybe stretching the truth a little bit? And I said, what do you mean? She goes, statistically, only 1% of people that use these pills actually become addicted to them. That was in 2011. 5 years before we would lose 60,000 people in 1 year to opioid overdoses. The average overdose death for opioid medications is everybody in this room. It's not the young kids in high school. In light of the United States opioid epidemic, businesses and corporations all over the United States are having to ask the really important question: how do we deal with this issue? Once I tried this OxyContin, it took my anxiety away. Once I tried this OxyContin, it took my depression away. Once I tried this OxyContin, I stopped thinking about killing myself, so I thought this drug was a miracle, because it was finally making me feel the way I wanted to feel my entire life, or so I thought.
You know, addiction is obviously a big problem in our society today, and I think too many people, too many businesses, too many families just ignore the problem and hope it goes away, and it's not.
Because we look at people's situations and we judge them where they're at. We don't ask ourselves, where did it start? What happened? I was judged as a person that could never become a part of productive society. I was judged as a person that would never be a good employee. And I try to tell people the worst thing about being homeless is not having a place to stay. Pay attention. It's the stuff people would throw at me while they were driving by me while I was walking down the street. I want to change the perspective of your management's team and get them to see that the employee that they have that's struggling with substance abuse issues doesn't need to be pushed away. They need to be approached, and they need to be talked to and encouraged to get the help that they need. Because you might go back in the field and you might recognize one of your employees is starting to get high. You tell yourself, I'm not going to get involved in this, when in fact your duty should be to walk up to that employee and say, hey man, is something going on? I'm worried about you. See, that's the tough conversation that we have to have, but that's also the tough conversation that we avoid, because we don't want to get in front of somebody else's personal life.
Tony has an outstanding story that, like I said, touches everybody from home to work to on the street. Professionalism at its best. I believe Tony is one of the best that I've ever heard.
It's a very good and compelling story, and I think it has the power to change people's perspective greatly.
I'm challenging you as a human being to know this, that there is something going on underneath that addiction. I couldn't help but think, if we only knew. If we only knew that in this moment, what was ahead of our lives, maybe something would be different.